Hello, everybody. Fernando here from Board. Today, we're going to talk about mergers and acquisitions of your Amazon business. You're going to like this. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Fernando here from Boards. I have here today Yael Cabilly, one of the co-founders of Fortunets. Yael, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Fernando. How are
It's
you?
our pleasure. Thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Can you tell me and us, everybody that's listening, what is Fortinet?
So Fortinet is an investment bank. We help sellers with their exit, mostly medium and large e-commerce businesses. A lot of FBA, Amazon FBA businesses. When they want to exit, we really take them through the entire process from the beginning, when the strategy, when to sell, the preparation for sale, and then through the exit until the money is in their pocket.
Okay. And what you need to what is the prerequisites for a store to be sold?
So any good store, any good business with good profits could potentially sold. The smaller one, the bigger one. As long as the margins are decent, the product is good. A business
What is a decent margin?
Good question. A business that has 5, 8%, 10% is difficult to sell. Today, most of the
Even
buyers are
10% is not considered good enough.
most buyers are looking for 18, 20% and up, especially after this past year with the margin shrinking, the price of PPC going up, and all the logistics went probably triple what they were 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. Most buyers are looking for decent margins.
And what else? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What else do we need to have a brand sold?
Yeah. So as I said, so margin is the first one. Growth. Most buyers are looking for a growing business. So if we go to market, and it happened to us, if we go to market with a business that's growing, but then during the process starts going down, that's something that scares some of the buyers, and they're not sure where this business is going. And most buyers are looking for a growing business year over year, and also in the last 3 months. The last 3 months are pretty important.
Okay. Do you need a patent to be bought?
Do you need what? A
A
patent?
patent, yes.
Not really. No. Most of the businesses in our FBA space don't have a patent. Usually they sell something that has been there, but they improve it somehow. So not necessarily the technology or the shape of the product. Sometimes the differentiation is just the color or something that people didn't like in the product, and they try to improve. But not all businesses have a patent. Those who have a patent sometimes have a higher valuation.
Okay. Do the buyers and aggregators, do they look like social media followers?
Yes and no. It's a good question. We've done a survey about last year in 2021 with the buyers, and we really asked them what increases the valuation. How do you get a higher multiple? And we asked them, like, if you have social media, would you give a higher multiple? And they said not necessarily. And we asked, if you have retail, what about that? Would that, if you sell on retail?
Good
And they said
question.
not necessarily. What about a website? You sell, on Shopify? Not necessarily. So at the end, they really, if barely having a Shopify or social media isn't enough, they would give you a higher multiple only if it's significant. If you really have sales on Shopify, if your social media really bring traffic, Just having it doesn't really improve the multiple.
What about seasonal products?
Seasonal products have a market. People, buyers would buy them, but then the buyers are more restricted. So, instead of dozens of buyers on your business, you would have maybe a few or less than 10. So that's it's a matter of demand. It's sellable. It's just that you have less buyers interested.
So let's say if I'm selling beach towels, you would recommend for me to have like a wider range of products so I can sell year round and be more.
Yeah, right, exactly. So you at the end it's a matter of risk. So when it's riskier, you have less buyers, or you have the buyers, but they would give you a lower multiple because of the risk. If you have on the same business several products, some sold in the summer and some will be sold during Christmas and some during the winter, then it's not such a risky account by itself.
Okay. Question for you. Do sellers only sell business to aggregators?
No, many people think that. No, aggregators are not the only buyers. Of course, if you look at 2021, they were the most active buyers. They buy fast. They need to deploy. They've raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and they need to deploy them quickly. So they're usually faster. But we've seen actually even more so this year. We've seen other types of buyers, like private equities. We've seen VCs. We're working with the larger businesses. We're working on strategic buyers, or for them it would be a strategic acquisition. So there are private buyers, of course. So there are many types of buyers. Again, the aggregators are extremely active. So sometimes the other buyers don't even take the deal, but they contributed to the competition, to the competitive process, and having them in this process really increases the valuation.
Oh, nice. So you mean like you have an aggregator that's interested in you and also a private buyer, and they both are competing for the business. So at the end of the day, you get a better deal.
Generally speaking, if you sell a business, you want to run a competitive process. If you show it to one or two buyers, you get some results. When you show it to over 100 or 200 or more, the result is completely different. So when it's a good business, as I said, growing, good margins, usually you have many buyers competing against each other, and you need to know how to play with multiple bids. So usually they compete against each other until you get to a point where there's one buyer who is bidding much more than others, and you're looking for that one. You never know who it is.
For the smaller sellers, is there like a number that they should keep in mind, like when they start to be attractive to buyers? Like, let's say you hit $1 million per year.
Yeah, $1 million is about that. So most buyers will tell you, if you go and knock, for example, on the aggregator's door, most of them will tell you they have a minimum of 1 million in sales. And many of them actually went up to 5 million in sales or even more. So 1 million would be where you start attracting many more buyers. Less than that, you would fall into more, I would say, the smaller companies or private buyers.
Okay. And let's say you have $1 million in revenue, low seasonality, 18% net profits. What is the price? How much people are getting to sell a business like this?
Yeah. So the multiple really depends on the business. So it depends on the category. It depends on the margins. 18% isn't a lot. What if you have 30%? What if you have 35%? What's the difference between a 35%? What's your size? So the larger you are, the higher margins and your growth, then usually your multiple will be higher. We've gathered what we did is we looked at our own data. And we look at hundreds of LOIs, even those that weren't taken, weren't accepted at the end. We looked at all the offers, and we tried to find the correlation between the different factors and the multiple at the end. And it's obvious, like I said, the larger you are, the better the margins are and the growth. And if you are in a category that's kind of evergreen category and not kind of
Seasonal.
something, yes, seasonal or even a one-time thing or something
Oh
that we
yeah, got
can
it.
at some point.
It's
So
recursive purchases.
yeah, so if you fall into these categories, then your multiple will be higher, and it can range from I don't know, 2x to even 7x cash upfront.
So
Before
we're
we
talking, let's say, a small seller reached $1 million in sales. His
yeah.
business looks very healthy, very steady. He's able to cash 2 million to 7 million.
No, so it's not on the revenue, it's on the profit. So if you have 1 million in revenue in the last 12 months, usually we look at the last 12 months. So let's say your revenue was $1 million in the last 12 months, and your profit, we're not looking
200K. Let's
yeah,
say.
we're not looking at the profit usually, we at the net profit, but we're looking at usually the EBITDA. In our industry, we call it SDE, seller discretionary earning, which is kind of adjusted EBITDA. You would take your EBITDA and you add back some of the expenses, like your salary should not be part of the expenses. So we add it back to your profit, the owner's salary. Or other expenses, like, for example, I don't know if you're renting an apartment, offices, that's something we would add back. Your car, or maybe a trip to Mexico, we would add these back. All the rest are expenses that will stay there. So let's say your profit is 200K. In those cases, you fall into the smaller businesses. You would not get 7 times the 200K, and probably not even 5. So it would be on the lower side of these, 2
2
to
to
7.
4. 2 to 4, something like
No,
this.
yeah, I would say, on the smaller side, exactly. And then the larger you are, you could get to these numbers. And again, here I'm talking only about the cash component of your sale. Very often they offer you additional payments with the growth of the business if it grows.
Okay. So the calculation is based on your profits.
Yes, exactly. On their profit in the last 12 months in most cases.
Okay. So, but I start to pay, we start to call attention of the buyers when you get to 1 million gross income,
Yeah, revenue.
gross revenue. Okay. So
Yeah.
gross revenue start calling attention, but you remember that you're going to be paid by your profits.
Exactly.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay. Tell me something about M&A. First, what is it?
M&A is mergers and acquisitions. In
Oh.
our space, we're talking mostly about acquisitions and not so much mergers. But that's the generally expression. Most of the people handling acquisition also handle merger.
Okay, how's the market right now?
The market, there's a lot of talks around what's going on there. Are buyers still buying? What happened to the aggregators? There are, some of the aggregators were in 2022 halfway. Many of the aggregators stopped buying at the beginning of the year for a few months. Thrasio is one of them, Perch and others. But there are still, 70 maybe around the aggregators only who continue to buy businesses. So the market as we see it, and that's only the aggregators, not talking about the other buyers that came in. We still see a healthy market for businesses that are growing and still look good. You can end up with like 12, 15 offers on your business and still very good multiples. And if you look at smaller businesses, those that are declining, these are more difficult to sell this year, more than ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they were always difficult to sell. A business that's declining deters most of the buyers. If they buy it, it would be at a lower profit, lower multiple, sorry.
Okay. Are the buyers looking for brands that are selling well? Shopify, Walmart, Etsy. Are they looking at those markets too?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you mean as
As an extension of your Amazon business?
As an extension, yeah. So like I said, when we asked buyers, it's same as social media. They're interested in these channels if the seller is doing well on these channels. They won't buy a business or give it a higher multiple just because it's on Walmart and 5% of the sales are on Walmart. That's not a reason to increase the multiple. But if they're doing well on other channels, then it's an advantage. We have, when you have too many channels, when you have like 20 channels, that can be difficult for some of the buyers, for them to operate the business, and it can be deterring for some.
Okay, so walk me through what happens. Let's say you find a seller. He's selling $5 million. He's making 1 million profit per year, and he wants to retire it. How does it work?
How the process works. So usually we prepare the business for sale. If the seller comes early in the process, if he or she starts speaking with us, a few months before, then we would examine the business, so and try to improve it in some ways. So for example, if we start 6 or 12 months before, we would look at your financials, and then we would tell you, we look at your numbers. It's obvious that you have a PPC problem, that the expenses there, if we compare it to the benchmark, there's a problem here or there. I don't know, your tax isn't good. So we would point the problems in the business and what could be improved. And very often we think with you how these can actually be improved. We also look at the legal side. My legal background. So we from the beginning, we make sure everything is ready. There are no inserts that violate Amazon's rule. Your trademarks are properly registered, because these can be a killer for the deal if you don't have it. No trademarks, no deal, basically. Mm-hmm. So we make sure these are all covered properly, and not just for some of the products or some of the countries. So that's another thing we do, and we really hold your hand until we're ready to sell. And then when we think it's the right time, per the strategy that we've defined together, we prepare a deck, like a marketing deck about your business, and we take that and we go to market for all the relevant buyers. So nice. You want, as I said earlier, you want to have a strong competitive process. And when you present your numbers in the best way you can, and you present your, the story of the brand with all the advantages of that brand in a strong deck, and you present it to all the possible buyers, you've reached the maximum for this particular brand, and you couldn't get more. So that's kind of the process that's done, generally in investment banks, and in particular at Fortunate. At Fortunate, we start, as I said earlier, because we see the result. In some cases, we even, we've been able to help the seller improving the margins significantly during that preparation.
Before
yeah.
sell.
Yeah.
Nice. Is it possible for the sellers to sell like a part of their business and still continues to be
If you have several brands, you could sell only one brand and keep the others, but you can't really separate a brand, like sell some of the products and some not, because there's the brand registry. The buyer wants to hold the trademark, the brand registry, and everything. So it's a little complicated to sell only part of it.
Got it.
And even if you do, and it's two brands, you have to take it out of the account. Usually they want to buy the account and just transfer it to the buyer.
Mm-hmm. If you have a business that's doing well, but it's like a one-time purchase, it's not a recurrent purchase, is it okay to try to sell your business like this too?
Yeah, again, when I said one time, what I meant is a product that, for example, the spinners, okay? Remember that it was a thing of a few months.
Oh, it's a fad. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fad. It's a fad. Right.
exactly. So these are not gonna stay there forever, and so these are a product that will be difficult to sell. It's a
Mm-hmm.
trend.
Mm-hmm.
Trending products are difficult to sell. But if it's a product that when I say evergreen, and when buyer come to us, I want evergreen product, they mean, products that have been here for a while and will be there in, 10,
Got
20
it.
years. That's what they mean.
Got
An
it. Got it.
iPhone cover can be more difficult to sell because you have to change it every once in a while, because the phone changes, and then the listing that you've just bought for 5 million maybe won't be won't be the one you'll be using in a year, because you'll have to launch a new listing with new reviews for the new version of the iPhone. So that's what I was referring to.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, you could launch a variation, but we'll leave this here another conversation. Yeah. Is there any other thing besides your link? Of course, you have to talk to us about our link, how to contact you. Is there any other thing that would like to tell us?
No, I think that one of the things maybe the most common mistakes that sellers do is to start at the last minute. And there are things you can fix, but there are things you cannot fix when you start very late, and then you come to market with some problems, some excuses. You want to go to market when you're growing, of course, but when you're ready and you don't have major problems. So the best would be to start early. It's the same result, but just start earlier to prepare, so that when you go to market, you're not only optimized in terms of the end result, but also you increase the chances that you'll actually close a deal. And I can give countless examples. The insert that I just gave as an example is something that we've seen during a deal. And we've seen issues with trademark infringement on the listing, that 2 days before the closing, the seller receives a warning letter or something like that. I cannot tell you how many times we've seen issues like that. And that's why you want to prepare as much as you can. There are things that you cannot foresee. But as much as you can foresee, do it early. So that would be my main advice.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. And how do we contact you?
It would be through the email or Facebook. My email is yael@fortunet.net.
Okay. It's got to be linked below. And your website, fortunet.net.
Yes.
Yes. Yael, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure speaking with you. It was very, very insightful. If you need anything for us, the doors are open for you all the time. And I hope to see you again on the show.
Thank you very much. And maybe a last advice would be to use Seller Board. And I'm not saying it because it's you guys. We use it actually, for clients who are
it's good, right?
Waiting for the sale. Yes, it's an amazing tool, I think, for sellers.
I like it too.
Yeah. So I'm really saying that honestly, not because it's you. You can ask our clients.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Yael. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for watching the interview. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, don't forget the links are below. And if you never heard about seller boards, you have to try it. You're going to give you all your numbers that you need to run your Amazon business. Plus, you're going to see inventory. You're going to see your expenses. You're going to have all your profit margins, everything that you need to run a successful business on Amazon. You have to check it out, Seller Board. Thank you so much.